You understand? You done found a new breed of Hebrews that stand and walk with all statutes and commandments of the Most High. And we don't care who we got to come up against. You ain't standing before this truth. You understand? We done took them all on and gonna continue to take them all on.
Surrounded by Edomites, lost a lot of truth to this tree of life. Open up the book just to see I'm right. Reminiscing on my ancestors, on those ships who had to plead for life. Took us to a place where ain't never safe there. Poisoning our foods and put our children up in daycare. Fresh out of slavery, still thinking that they care. Guns in the community, children can't play there. Brothers still brainwashed, we died for that same cost. Took away our history, believing that we ain't lost. Brother, I'm an Israelite, sin is like kryptonite. Brothers won't pray, no, they rob a link a chick tonight. Praises to the Most High, I ain't like most guys. Eyes on the future, but I learned from a boat ride. Tribe of Benjamin, inherited on both sides. Background Jamaica, mistreated and I know why. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of an Israelite, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of an Israelite, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Kwam Yasha Allah, sons of the power. Rise from the ghetto when Satan want us devoured. The seal of the Lord ain't found in church towers. Never dying on my knees like no coward. Wanna be an Israelite, you gon' need more than fringes. You gon' need to show you approve and get in them scriptures. Oh, I forgot to mention, traumatized from the lynching. Homicide, we the victim. Homicide ain't the ending. Kids with PTSD, suffering symptoms. Never getting treatment, something he gotta sleep with. Stockholm syndrome so long, it ain't a secret. That's why I die for them brothers I'm facing east with. Cause I'm an Israelite, crackers better get it right. Visions of my enemies, death flow through my dreams at night. If your mind ain't there, then we don't dream alike. Reporting live from hell, home of Christians and Edomites.
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of an Israelite, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of an Israelite, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
While they play the sidelines, comfortable on benches. Catch me on the front lines, putting work in trenches. Making sure our election, preparing for Armageddon. Mastering this profession of prophesying these lessons. Protecting our adolescents and answering all their questions. Teaching the love they reflection, no matter what the complexion. We got a common connection, a part of God's hand selection. A shot at the resurrection, through us achieving perfection. But to give life takes sacrifice. Battle demons every vice. Short days and long nights. Less sleep and more fights. More wisdom, more strife. Telling everybody that they wrong and you're right. I'm an Israelite, blood of an Israelite. I ride for my Israelites and die for my Israelites. We owe a debt cause Christ paid the price. So who ready to give their life the life of an Israelite?
I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of an Israelite, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites. I'm an Israelite, die for my Israelites. Blood of an Israelite, cry for my Israelites. Going through it cause we Israelites. Kwam Yashra Allah to all my Israelites.
Let's clap it up. This is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out at 1 West 125th Street, out of Harlem, New York, under the amazing Commanding General YAHANNA. I.S.U.P.K is where you're going to learn the truth and nothing but the truth. Today is Tuesday class, and this is about brotherhood. Today's brotherhood class is about the destruction of gentrification, destruction through gentrification. One thing that we don't realize is gentrification is a whipping tool used by the Most High to make us understand that he is not playing with these laws. One thing that we need to understand is brotherhood is one of the key factors of these laws. Go ahead and give me Matthew 22 and 36. Christ says this with his own lips. Go ahead and read that when you got it.
This is the book of Matthew, chapter 22, verse 36. Master, which is the great commandment in the law?
Now this is Christ's disciples asking him questions, and this is one of the questions they ask. Of course, even in today's time, you have Christians say the same thing. What law is the greatest? What law should we follow? You know, because in Christian church, they barely follow any laws other than tithing. You know, but go ahead and read that.
Verse 37. And Jesus said unto him, Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy mind.
Now, how do you love God? Anybody, how do you love God? Go ahead.
By keeping the commandments, sir.
That's correct. One of the key factors of even showing love is because love is an action. You know, it's not just about feelings. It's about how you move, how you show somebody you love them by you showing the Most High you love them. You show them by keeping His commandments. You show them doing what He tells you to do. Go ahead and keep reading.
Verse 38. This is the first and great commandment.
Verse
39. And the second is like unto it. Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself.
Thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. Who is your neighbor? Anybody? Go ahead.
Your brother, other Israelites. Maybe.
Your brother, correct. Your brother. So this scripture is telling you the two laws are this is what the whole book is all about. Following these commandments and loving your brother as thyself. That's what the whole totality of it. Teaching you how to handle your brother in certain situations, how to follow the laws to the T, how to make sure you don't mess up your brother in any type of way. And if you have a conflict with your brother, how to come back together so you can maintain that brotherhood. This is all the types of strategies and ties of how to keep these laws and statutes and commandments. Now give me Deuteronomy 28 and 15. Now the Lord is telling you, if you don't follow these commandments, certain things will come upon you. Gentrification is one of them. And this is the one we're going to focus on tonight. Go ahead and read that for me.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
Just read 16 too.
Verse 16. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
Now, this is telling you about the curses of the disobedience, what's going on with the Most High. When you look at our cities today, those black neighborhoods and things of that nature, what do you see? You start to see less of your people and more of your oppressor starting to be in your neighborhoods. You start to see like old historic monuments, old historic territories in your neighborhood are starting to get demolished, turned down in your city, to the point where you don't even recognize it anymore. This is just one of the curses that we're going to focus on today. Go ahead and drop down to verse 63.
Verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do good.
Now this says that as the Lord was going to rejoice over you to do good, if you follow these laws, statutes, and commandments, the Lord is going to be happy about it. He's going to rejoice over you. He's going to make sure that you are over all the rest of these nations. He's looking forward for you to be on top, because this earth was made for you. This earth was made for the children of Israel to rule. And I'm talking about the blacks, Native Americans, Hispanics, Dominicans, Haitians. I'm talking about all these black and brown people. It's made for you. And the Lord wants to see you on top. Keep reading.
And to multiply you.
Keep reading.
So the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you.
Hold up. Go back and read that one more time.
Verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good and to multiply you.
So as the Lord would rejoice over you to do for you to do good and multiply you to the point where your population is like the sands in the sea and the stars in the sky. Go ahead and keep reading.
So the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you.
So the Lord will rejoice over to destroy you because you don't follow these commandments. Keep reading.
And to bring you to naught.
To bring you to naught. What is another word for naught? Go ahead.
Nothing.
Nothing. He's going to bring you to nothing. That's what that means. You follow these commandments, statutes, commandments. He gonna make sure you're on top. He want to see you do good. He gonna rejoice because to see his children, his favorite, to see him on top. But you want to act like you don't want to follow these commandments. You want to do what you want to do. You want to follow these other cultures. You want to celebrate this Christmas. You want to lay with your brother's wife. You want to do all these wicked things. The Lord is going to rejoice in bringing you down to nothing. Keep reading.
And ye shall be plucked from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it.
You shall be plucked from the land, whether you go to possess it. Just like how you see us, how we got plucked out of our own land in Israel. No matter where we go, just like in America, we in our cities and stuff like that. You see gentrification, we getting pushed out of our neighborhoods because of gentrification. You see that. You see these highways getting widened up and our buildings being bought up, due to the oppressor using this tactic to push our people out of our own cities. This is what this verse is talking about. This is one of these curses. And I'm going to come back to this same curse over and over again through this lesson, just to show you how it keeps playing this whole narrative, because this is nothing new. This is an old tactic. This is gentrification ain't nothing new. It's been going on even before Christ. This has been going on even in the book of Maccabees. Matter of fact, give me that get First Maccabees chapter 1 verse 38. Hold that. Like when you looking at today's cities, well, back when your grandma and all them came into the city, you see them black neighborhoods. You see you had a candy lady in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? You had somebody that fixed on your car in your neighborhood. Now they get pushed out. Old Joe used to have a lumber shop, but now it's being replaced by Home Depot and Lowe's. You know what I'm saying? You start to see these small signs of gentrification before it even happened. And the thing about gentrification is it's such a slow process. By the time that you actually seen that it happened, it's too late. It's already there. You're already pushed out. Some of the small signs and stuff, like you see restaurants, small restaurants turn into franchises. You start to see stuff like that, or you're increasing like police activity. You start to see a lot of police in your hood a lot. They trying to crack down to get you out of there, get some of these people locked up. Your brother's locked up over the most petty things. Or you need to see like city bikes. When you need to see like those little rental bikes on the corners of different blocks where they can just rent it off. People can just ride around in it and just look around your hood. That's what this is for. It's starting to turn your neighborhood into a tourist attraction. When you start to see those city bikes on your corners by your libraries, gentrification is happening, brother. It's happening. And that's go. What you about to say?
Scripture. First Maccabees.
Go ahead and read that.
Okay. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 38. And so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers.
Hold up, matter of fact, probably want you to go up a little bit more so you can get more of a context. of what's going on. You say you're in the first book of Maccabees, right? Maccabees 1 verse 38. Give me, try to go up a little bit more. Matter of fact. Read verse 1. So you kind of get a view of what's going on in during that time. Go ahead and read that.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 1. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim.
Now, this is also what the Christian church and people don't really know about. Alexander is in this Bible. This is Alexander the Great. Talk about during his rulership. Go ahead and keep reading.
Had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, or it's like in his stead, for the first over Greece.
Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 2, and made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of earth.
So Alexander and his old man and them, they went on ahead and just slaughtering nations and taking over land and making rulership over everything that they come across, you know. And our people was one of them. He come across our people. He ruling now. He's over our land, and this is the time where you start to see the Greeks trying to push our people to start eating pork, stop following our culture. You know, our people getting scared of getting beat upside the head. They start to mesh with these other cultures and stuff like that. Now go ahead and drop down verse 38.
Verse 38. And so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers, and became strange to those that were born in her.
Hold on 1 second. Read that one from the top.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 1, verse 38. Insomuch that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them, whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers.
So it's just like right now in Houston. Like in Houston, you got the old black neighborhoods like 3rd Ward, 5th Ward, Studewood, you know, these Acres Homes, stuff like that. You start to see how at first it was nothing but just full-fledged black communities. You see art exhibits, you see like old soul food restaurants and things of that nature. But then you start to see the oppressors start to inhabit different areas of that neighborhood, or what they call in this scripture strangers. You start to see these strangers inhabit the neighborhood of 3rd Ward, 5th Ward. Read that from the top where it says, whereupon the city.
Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers.
Upon 3rd Ward in our black neighborhood was made an habitation of strangers. They starting to come in. They starting to move in. They starting to say, oh, well, you know, the neighborhood don't really look all that bad, but these houses are very low. Because why? In the black community, the housing market in the black community is very, very low. And during gentrification, it's about two things. It's about investment and displacement. White people, your oppressor, will invest in the community, and then the black people will start to get moved out. that would get displaced out of their own neighborhoods, because once they start putting up all these community centers, and they start to put up all these chain restaurants, these shopping malls, what happens to the rent? It starts to go up. You know, these black neighborhoods, they're good for our people. A lot of people don't have the efficient the economic system that our oppressor has. So it's like low income housing. But that time that you start to bring the neighborhood value up, that person that live in a low income housing area, his pockets haven't changed, his bank account haven't increased, but the area that he has increased. So what is he supposed to do? He has to move around. He has to leave. Rent goes up. What comes next? Taxes go up. And you can take a person's home straight from taxes. Like that itself is wicked in its own right. You know, like they got something called tax foreclosures. So you about to say something, Ron? Go ahead.
Wakan, sir. That's mostly how they get obtain the properties in black neighborhoods, because you know, like even in my neighborhood, as one of them that you mentioned,
Yeah.
you know, when you know, when you graduate high school and you go off to college,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and you go off and you get your degree and you get your, you know, your big house or whatever, you know, you move out the neighborhood, you know, when that house that you lived in, either mama or grandma that was staying there, once they die off,
Yeah.
the property is just sitting there.
Yeah.
And you don't take the time to go back and try to reinvest into it, because you know you got your own thing going, you know, trying to move further out the hood,
Yeah.
to where it's easy, you know, for them to take the property because you don't care about it,
Exactly.
you know. And once they put that property in the classifieds in the newspaper, is up for grabs. You know, the same thing almost happened to the house I grew up in, but until my family came together and we got the money together to pay the taxes.
Mm.
But that's how a lot of neighborhoods get gentrified, because you know, once we try to, you know, envy the oppressor and move out to these other neighborhoods, you know, we just leave ours, you know, to dwindle down and deteriorate.
Yeah.
That's all I got, sir.
I mean, you are, brother, you are one of the few that were able to even get your taxes down and pay them off just to keep that house. I mean, gentrification is like it's a process of a neighborhood change where higher income and higher education residents move into a historical area to where they know they can make that volume go up and move everybody out. Just like what you're saying with that tax foreclosure. So just for those that don't know what this brother's talking about, there comes a time when if you don't pay your taxes, if you fall bound in your tax, and a lot of this happens when, let's say, you have a great aunt or great grandma, she passed, and then you get somebody gets the house from her or whatever, or let's say that the taxes increase because the rent increase in the neighborhood, so the taxes increase. They can't pay the taxes on that house. They start to fall behind on their house because on the house taxes. I mean, even though your house is paid off, you still got to pay Uncle Sam money for something that you already own, taxes. You know what I'm saying? And if you fall behind it, that county or that city, whoever is over your jurisdiction, can put a lien on your house because you owe back taxes. So let's say you owe something small. Let's say you owe $1,000 for back taxes. Let's just say you owe that, you know, and at this moment, you just don't have the money to do it. They might give you a month sometimes, or sometimes you might get lucky. You might have 180 days to pay this taxes. And at that point, you can't pay installments. You pay the full right then and there. If you can't do that, then that's when they put your house onto an auction. Your house goes into auction for however much that you owe for those taxes. So if you owe $1,000, they go to the county clerk's office. Your house goes up for auction starting the bed at $1,000. We got $1,000 here, $1,000. That's how your house goes up for. Why are you still in it? Don't even worry about it if you in it or not. They will sell your house because you owe $1,000 on taxes. And that's when Billy Bob Thornton come over there in the auction and buys your house for $1,000. Your house could be worth $150,000, but because you owe and your house is paid off, but because you owe $1,000, he come and buy your house for $1,000, or whoever outbid him. So he pays that $1,000. He gets the deed. He gets your house. It's that simple. Because of tax foreclosure. And the mess up part about it, let's say, because I've seen this happen. Let's say that your house is going for $1,000, but the city sells it for $80,000. Now your house is still worth $150,000, but the dude bought it for $80,000, right? Now that first $1,000 goes to the county, right? Now it's still $79,000 sitting in the county records. Now at this point, they have moved you out the house because you don't live there anymore. They have taken your house for auction. All right. So now there's a $79,000 sitting in that bank. Now what the county or the clerk has to do is they supposed to inform the person that's at their residence that, hey, we have $79,000 from an auction of your home, right? So what do? They send a notice to your last residence. Where's your last residence? The house that you just got kicked out of. So how are you supposed to get the letter? How are you supposed to get the notification? You don't. So at that point, then depending on what city you in, you might have 2 years to claim that money. And nobody's going to tell you anything. They're going to send you a letter, and hopefully you might get it. Hopefully you know what's going on. If not, that money goes right back into the county clerk's office, and now it's their money. Now they got $79,000, and now you got no home. You have been displaced. That's the whole tax foreclosure system. This happens all the time. They have these tax auctions. I know in Houston they have it every second Tuesday of the month. Well, you can go and buy somebody's house. You can buy a $300,000 house, $40,000 if you got the cash. Just like that. Go ahead.
They sent us a certified letter saying that we had 45 days.
Use the mic, God.
I'm a concert, and sometimes it'd be less than that because they sent us a certified letter saying that we didn't come up with $10,000, that somebody had already expressed interest in the property, that we had to pay $10,000 within 45 days, 90 days.
Yeah.
And if we didn't pay it in 90 days, then the property was theirs.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they would have got a house, sitting on not just the house itself, but now you're talking about acres. Sitting on 2 acres. So now they can tear down the house if they want to.
If they want to.
But they got 2 acres of land that they can do whatever they want to with. Either rebuild or, whatever.
And see,
so, you're
right.
Also, you're thinking about the house, but you got to think about 2 things that you're losing. You're losing land and you're losing a house.
You're losing the land and the house. Go back to Deuteronomy 28 and 63. Read that last part, and to bring you to naught.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 63. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoice over you to do you good and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught.
To naught. Go ahead.
And ye shall be plucked from off the land whither thou goest to possess it.
Plucked off the land. Because of that tax foreclosure, you have been plucked off your land because of what your oppressor's doing. Gentrification in its finest. See, that's how you get a lot of these when you see like in the heights in those areas where they'll build the house like you said, they took the land too, and they start to build them little townhomes on top of each other. You know, they start to capitalize their money. I said the white man he's a cold mother boy. He's something serious. He know how to get you off that land and get that bread. He's about his paper. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead,
Kind of, it's heavy what you're saying, because I remember in high school, my government and economics teacher,
Yeah,
you know, he was a devil.
yeah,
And what he told, and this was what, probably 25 plus years ago, he said, he told the class, he was like, you know, I went to inner city school, black, you know, predominantly black school.
yeah.
And he said, you know, you guys, what you're gonna do, you're gonna go out to these colleges. Some of you are gonna go to white colleges, some of you are gonna go to black colleges. You're all gonna graduate, and you're gonna get you a good job, and you're gonna move out where you're from now, your neighborhood now, and you're gonna try to, you know, pursue, you know, a nice house, nice family, nice car,
Yeah,
and you're gonna forget about this property.
yeah,
Now my people are gonna come back. They're gonna wait a few years, and they're gonna come back in and buy this land that you left for cheap. You know, because the further you move out, the further they're trying to move away from you. But then
Exactly.
they're gonna move back in. And I
exactly.
also I talked to like one of the doctors that's in Texas Medical Center, and most of those people, like in my neighborhood, you know, I'm right there at the 610, like right where the Heights is.
Yeah,
So what they did to my neighborhood, or doing to my neighborhood, they're trying to extend the name of the Heights into my neighborhood. So it's called the Greater Heights now. You know, so that means they're trying to attract more buyers to buy the land and the properties, so they can continue to build those townhomes and everything. And I talked to one of the doctors that bought some of those properties. He was like, "Yeah, I just need a straight shot, you know, to go to work now. You know, I'm tired of driving from Katy to from Fresno, from Galveston, you know, to you know the downtown where they work.
yeah.
They just want to either get on the bus or ride a bike straight down the street to work.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. It's about conveniency.
And
But the crazy part is this whole gentrification. Like when they start, like when you look at like a city's infrastructure, you start to see stadiums and entertainment areas pop up where in the black community. It's always around the black community. You know what I'm saying? Just so it can take our mind off of the oppression that we're going through. You know what I'm saying? It's a term called, I think it's called like circus and bread or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Keep them happy, feed them a little bread. Keep them a little happy, feed them a little bread. You know what I'm saying? That little food is the WIC cards. You know what I'm saying? Put a little entertainment in them, put the stadium in it. You're like, you know what? The light's starting to kick off. My woman kicked me out the crib, and like it's all this, I'm losing my job, but they got this game going over here right down the street at the stadium center. You know, I can go ahead and tailgate with my boys and relieve this stress that I'm going through. I can just walk straight to it. You know what I'm saying? That's how they do it. Or when you even look at the highway systems, where is the highway built around? It's built around the black communities. They would even close off the highways will round around the whole black community area and close them off to where it's like one way to get out, one way to get in type thing. You know, you see that in all like the big major cities. You know, one thing that you don't see is like in the rich rural areas. You know, there's no bus system in Sugar Land. You know what I'm saying? There's no bus system around the River Oaks. Why? Everybody got cars. You know what I'm saying? That's that area. You know, when you see improvement, or we're gonna make some improvements in the city, it's never over there in those areas. Ever. Even when you go to in each city, they usually have like a Chinatown, a Jewish area, even like a little African town. There's no gentrification going on over there. These people have their own towns, their own areas. Even the gays got their own community over here. You go right down, what's that street called? Montrose. Look at the street. They got rainbows on the crosswalk. Rainbows on the crosswalk, God. You can skip down the yellow brick road on Montrose. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how wicked this whole gentrification system setup is. You know, and then they set it up to where when they tear down our communities, what did they replace it with? Bike trails, you know, parks, dog parks. You know what I'm saying? They started to put big movie theater systems in that area that they make it so entertaining, so welcoming, so they can start bringing new people to it. They're trying to attract money to it, build up the rise of that the cost of living in that area. It's a big money grab. Like I said, investment and displacement. That's all what it's about. Now, go ahead and give me Ecclesiasticus chapter 10. It's in the Apocrypha. Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 8. Go ahead and read me that. Because your oppressor, the way he does business, is always in a way to where he's on top, you're at the bottom, and it's never in a righteous manner. It's always in a manner to where you're left with nothing. To the point where at the end of the day, you kicked out before you even realized what happened. Go ahead and read that for me.
This is the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 10, verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
Because of how this oppressor has this whole system set up, how he used paperwork, he used jargon to the point you don't even understand what the paperwork is saying. You'll get a letter in the mail saying your petition to arrive at precinct 34 to display about lot number 34 to discuss you don't even know what's going on. You gotta get a lawyer just to understand the jargon, and paperwork be 15 pages long. Nothing but numbers, lot numbers, and still trying to understand what is going on, paragraph by paragraph. Still don't understand what's going on. By the end of the day, you realize, you can say I owe about $500, and since I didn't pay this $500 within 2 weeks, my house is gone. But he used 37 pages to tell you this. So by the time you figured it out, the key's gone. That's the deceit and deception that he has. It passes from one person to another. That's how this whole thing is set up. I'm telling you, this economic system built by your oppressor is made for him. Like, this is his kingdom. This is his kingdom. Because if we don't do one thing, love our brother like we love ourselves, and follow these commandments, these are the curses that's falling upon us. Like, this is the type of stuff that we deal with on a straight daily. Give me Lamentations 5:1. Like, we often look at the Most High and say, like, Lord, can you look at the problems and the tribulations that we going through? Like, Lord, what's but you ain't really don't understand that. Look at what you're doing. Look what you're not doing. You look at your brother like he's your enemy, crabs in the bucket. We didn't understand, like, we know who our enemy is. You need to know who your enemy is. That same brother that you see on the street corner, he going through the same thing you going through. It's amazing how when you drive in your car and you see somebody sitting on the corner at the bus stop and you pass them by, what's the first thing you see two brothers when they lock eyes? What they do? What's going on with this? The mean mug is something serious for no reason. For no reason. Or you in the club and you accidentally bump a brother, like, who? It's a club. You can't move. Somebody step on your shoes at the party, like, bro, you scuffed on my shoes. Now you got to fight. Now we got to step outside, like over some fake J's. You know what I'm saying? It's just one thing that we got to understand, like what is really valuable. Go ahead and read that for me out.
Khan. This is the book of Lamentations, chapter 5, verse 1. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach.
Like you looking at, like, remember, O Lord, look what's come upon, look what's going on with us. See our troubles and tribulations. Go ahead and read that.
Khan, verse 2. Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses to aliens.
Our inheritance is turned to strangers. Our houses are turned to aliens. Gentrification all throughout this Bible. That's what's going on right there. In Lamentations, he's saying it. What is your inheritance? The land, your culture, your area. Like you see so many other nations not only take our land, but they take just our attributes, our lingo, the way we dress. You know, when you go to if you go to China right now, they got like a little set to where they wear like those Vato cargo pants with the white shirt. They'll shave their head bald, tattoo the neck, ride around with the low riders. You see that in the China area. So you see it over here. You know what I'm saying? You see them walk right around like that, just act like they Vatos. You know, like they'll take the whole culture and just say it's theirs. It's just what they do. Like what nation hasn't taken part in our kingdom for their spoils? Like this is what they go ahead and keep reading, man.
Khan. Verse 3. We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows.
Keep reading.
Verse 4. We have drunken our water for money. Our wood is sold unto us. Verse 5. Our necks are under persecution. We labor and have no rest.
Like we work so hard, but at the end of the day, it still gets taken. Go ahead, read out. Go ahead.
It's like, if I may, I don't want what you're bringing out is heavy, because when a family loses their land, the generations after the generation that lost their land have to suffer just even worse than the generation that lost the land, because they have to work for just they have to work in this captivity just to be able to pay rent, to be able to live somewhere. So it goes down the line of suffering, if I may.
Yeah, I mean, you are absolutely right. And what is heavy that you even bringing that out, because something like that happened like during the Civil War area, like right after the Civil War, our people had like one good asset. They had land. You start to see that like in the Florida Keys area. Like now, it's a white retirement area. You know what I'm saying? But at first, that was a whole black community down there. You know what I'm saying? That whole Florida Keys, it was nothing but ex-slave, freed men out there. You know what I'm saying? After the whole slavery and Civil War thing was over, you know, even Mississippi, Alabama, all them southern states, they fell into something called heirs property. Kind of what you were just talking about, how generation have been passed down and being passed down. Because just like let's say you was a free man, you got you some land, and your great I'm talking about great grandfather, you know, got that land, raised his 8 kids, things. He did that, but then after that, what happens? Those kids grow up, they move out, they go to different states, they have kids. What happens to that land when your great grandfather passes? It goes to his heirs, or his kids, his 4, 5, or 6 kids. See, the problem with that is, we didn't know how we knew how devilish the oppressor was, but we didn't know the system they had set up. He had it set up to where, let's say, see if I can break this down. This still goes on right now. So let's say your great-great-grandfather owns 47 acres of land, right? He passes. Now he has 15 kids. Now when he dies, that land splits up, and now 15 people own that property, right? Equally. Everybody owned the property equally. Now let's say somebody that doesn't even live in it over there anymore. You know what? I'm gonna spread it out even more. Let's say those kids have kids. So their fraction of property goes to their kids. So now you got 40 people owning 40-something acres of land, right? Now at this point, you got children living in different cities, different states. You know, they don't know nothing about what great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather bought. They just know at the end of the day, they just know they got some land that they own, like a fraction. Or some of them don't even know. So let's say, I'm gonna use the same name, Billy Bob Thornton, goes to the county records office. He's in the lumber trade. He buys land to bulldoze trees and makes money off of lumber. He goes to the county records office. He looks at all the plot lands to see who owns what, right? Now, there's records of everything, who owns what land and all that type of stuff. So he can go back and like, okay, this is property that's split off into a lot of people. I see Junebug, he stays off in California. I'm over here in Mississippi. He don't care nothing about this land up here. Let me call him up real quick. Hey, June, my name's Billy Bob Thornton. I see that you own about a good, acre of land out here in Mississippi. I was trying to see if you let me buy off your back for about 5,000. I own land? 5,000? Go ahead, I don't care. Do your thing. Send me the check. Billy Bob Thornton writes that check for $5,000. Sends to Junebug, right? Billy Bob Thornton started contacting each individual. Let's say he contacted about 4 or 5 people, right? Now he owns 20% of that 47-acre property. And this is heir's property, right? Now Billy Bob Thornton owns 20% of it. So now Billy Bob Thornton can go to the county courthouse and issue something called a partition sale. So this means that he can force sale everybody that owns that land. So let's say everybody, it can be your grandma still lives on that land. She may still live on that land. But Billy Bob Thornton owns his lumber. He owns 20%. He can do something called a partition sale to where he can force everybody that owns that piece of land to sell it in an auction. Now the family has a choice to buy Billy Bob Thornton out. They ain't got the money. Which one of them people got $15,000 or $20,000 just cash like that? They don't. So now Billy Bob goes to the auction. Auction goes up. He in Mississippi. He knows about the partition sale. They might put it in the paper, but it's a small town. Everybody ain't really paying attention to it. So Billy Bob Thornton is the only one in the auction asking to buy all that land. So now the whole land's up for sale. He can buy for, they do it just like that. I'm starting to bid off at, $2,000. Let me go for $2,000, Billy Bob. He the only one there. Sold for $2,000. Now Billy Bob Thornton just bought 47 acres of your people's land that they had from Civil War. Now he about to bulldoze it, do what he need to do with that land. Give me that Deuteronomy 28:68 one more time, 63 one more time. Go bring it to the and to bring you.
And to bring you to naught. It's like this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 63. And so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you and to bring you to naught. And ye shall be plucked from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it.
Your family possessed this land. Now you just been plucked off. Billy Bob Thornton he can just say, well, you know what? I could be nice and let your grandma stay there, but I got these trees to bulldoze. She's in the way of my land. You got 30 days to vacate the property. Just like that. Off of paperwork. People losing their land off paper. And this happens a lot in the South, especially in the South. Fall victim to stuff like this. Tax foreclosures, partition sales, heirs property. Now, this is some wicked stuff. Give me First Maccabees 3:36. This scripture ties to what heirs property is. Who's this?
Khan, this is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 36. And that he should place strangers in all their and divide their land by lot.
Divide their lands by lot. He's sitting there having the oppressor buy your land off of quarters, dividing your land. Now that he got a big percentage of your land, I can take your whole land now. Like this is what the oppressor does. This is like one of the old tricks in the book that he's been doing since day one. This is the book of Maccabees. This is before Christ. You know what I'm saying? And now you could look at today's time, and they're doing the same thing now. You know, gentrification been happening since it's been a minute. And in the forefront of the modern day gentrification started with Martin Luther King. Because straight out of slavery, what do? We tend to ourselves. We was by ourselves. We always with our people. You know, we had our own bus stations. We had our own taxi service, schools, movie theaters. Then what Martin wanted to do? I need to lay with white women. I need to get with them. We need to come together. For what? Our food tastes better. We got bigger portions. Our women are beautiful, and they come in all types of shades. You know, but you wanna get with the pale. You know what I'm saying? Just something that ain't got no curves, no nothing. Just straight up and down, just back and leg. Yeah, just 6 o'clock. Let's say 6 o'clock. Straight up. That's what we going through right now. You know, and that one thing just lets you know, like, sticking together, having that brotherhood, that's what keeps us tight. That's what keeps our people whole. You know, because when you look at history, you see our people creating everything. I mean, everything. The only reason that they don't get the recognition for it, because why? They didn't file the paperwork. It still falls down to it. No paperwork. What the president needs to invent the cotton gin for? He ain't doing no work. For what? We creating something to make our job easier. He not. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, following these laws, statutes, commandments, there is what you see going on now. This ain't nothing new. Matter of fact, give me Ecclesiastes 1:9. Like this type of punishment, this type of stuff that's happening to our people, this is old. This ain't nothing new. Go ahead and read that out.
Khan. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1, verse 9. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. and there is no new thing under the sun.
There is no new thing under the sun. This gentrification is nothing new. This is old news. It's just new to us. We act like we don't see it. But by the time we do see it, it's too late. People fell victim to this type of punishment due to not following these commandments. It says that we are a holy people among the earth. We are separate from everyone. But following these other nations gives you nothing but oppression, despair, you know, and then doing these dealings with these oppressors. I mean, there are brothers and sisters that, since they only want to deal with getting this bread, they'll make these dealings to widen these highways out. I mean, you can look at what's going on right now. If you're in Houston, you can look at what's going on, like what, 45 and 59. Like, look at the highways. They're taking up so much of the old neighborhoods, like the Heights in the Third Ward area, that where are these people going to go? They creating more lanes. They ain't creating it in these other neighborhoods, but they creating it in our neighborhoods. That's why you start to see tent cities going to start to get bigger, because of the increasing of the real estate. They can't keep up with it. Then what you do? Hopefully start to lean. That's when you start to lean towards the oppressor for some help. You're not gonna do it, but give you some crumbs. Like that's the type of stuff that we need to focus on. Like, these laws, statutes, and commandments, following these things will lead you to the rest of the nations. We about to say something wrong? Like, it tells you in the book of Deuteronomy. Matter of fact, give me, what's that, Deuteronomy 28 and 1. It says, I'll put you above all nations. Read that.
Honorable Khan. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
He's going to set us among all nations of the earth. You're not going to see no gentrification. You don't even know what that is. You know, you will see your people start to thrive. And the bad thing about gentrification is it spills over into our kids' education. Because when you start to see gentrification, these black neighborhoods start to become like a what do you call that, a gumbo pot. You know, you start to see you know, our little kids start to be in the same schools as their oppressor. They start to forget who they are. So by the time they become our age, they become shocked, like, why is this person doing this to me? Why are they doing it? I mean, I used to go to school with such and such. Why is it? Because he knows who he is. He knows what he's supposed. His mom and dad told him what he needs to be doing. You know, I mean, when I was growing up, I didn't really see oppressors until college time. So since in the household with my black family, I'm going to school seeing nothing but, you know, black and brown people. What are you mostly gonna gravitate to? Your people. So when it's about time to get a rib, you've been around black women, Native American women, your whole life. That's all you accustomed to. You know, so you're gonna gravitate to it. But nowadays, you see gentrification, you see the mixing of all this segregation. You know, now you're starting to see our black and brown brothers going to prom with, you know, their oppressor. You know, you start to see that. I mean, what was I think? Wasn't LeBron James' son just went to prom with some oppressor? I remember I saw that in on Facebook or something like that. His mom had the most hideous face in the picture. You know, that's the type of stuff that you start to see. You know, it spills into the education. And then if you got the gentrification, you start to see even the teachers. You know, since you have the oppressor teachers coming in your neighborhoods, they start to be the teachers in your school. So they start to teach the history that they want to teach. That's why you're seeing they're starting to change these history books. You know, saying that what did they say? That the blacks came in to become to get better lives, to work off their inequities or something like that. I saw in the news, like changing all types of how slavery was really given. You know, like this is the type of stuff that happens when this gentrification starts to happen. Education starts to change. The people around you start to change. You start to see our people lose their culture, lose their businesses. There's so many small time restaurant businesses that went out because they turned into franchises. Franchise right next door to them. You get like a little burger joint right on the corner. Then they build a Burger King right across the street. Can't compete with that. Then they build a Chick-fil-A right down the street. You know what I'm saying? Then the Wendy's. He drowning. He can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff that we deal with. You know, like this, when we focus on our brothers and just not only dealing with this gentrification, but supporting our brothers in our neighborhoods. You know, like that black dollar only circulates what, one time, if that. But when you go to these other neighborhoods, they circulate about a good 50 times before it even leaves their community. You know, you see the Jewish community, they rarely even leaves. You know what I'm saying? By the time it leaves that neighborhood, that dollar all scratched up, got marks in it, tears in it. It had been through 80 people's pockets before it even leaves the neighborhood. That's why the Jewish community got their own school systems, bus systems. They got all that. Chinatown the same. They got their own China community centers where they got nothing but Chinese stores, grocery stores, beauty supplies. And the crazy thing is they selling our hair to us. We go to their town centers to buy our hair from them. It's crazy. You got Shaniqua over there. She can say the same type of grade of hair, but you want to go, no, I'm going to go ahead to, I don't feel like doing business with black people. I just can't, If it was you, wouldn't you want to do business with yourself? Love your brother as yourself. Love your sister as yourself. That's what this is talking about. But since we want to deal with these other nations, they know, oh, well, these people will do business with me. So let me go in their neighborhood, set up shop. I'm good to go. And that's how it begins. That's like the start of it. Like our people are so talented that it makes no sense to where we even need to deal with other nations.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every time you ever notice where every time they say it's a recession or the dark ages or something like that, black people doing all right. That's when we start to come together. You know what I'm saying? Especially like what hurricane and stuff like that. When that happen, lights go out. What do black people do in the apartment complex neighborhood? They all go outside, put the pits up. The freezer can't hold the meat no more. So what you gonna do? You gonna cook all that mess up. Everybody gonna eat all day outside. Everybody eating for the next 3 days. Really like wheat. You just cooking all day, all night. All you hearing is music going, candles going. The whole neighborhood is doing what? Feeding each other. Only because you can't hold the meat for yourself. That's the crazy part. It ain't like we can't do it. We do it. During times when it's like our backs against the wall. You got to understand, man. Those two commandments, love thy God and love your brother. You got any questions in the room? No question? With that, pass the class over to who's doing the security announcements. Yakuba? Pass the class over to Yakuba.
We are the I.S.U.P.K, started on 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new sister and brother. When a new sister or brother comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to the brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18:21. Malachi 3:8-10 means 10th in the Hebrew. 10th, Ma'asharah. 10% of every penny increase the Lord gives you. Gives to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests. Not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocation. Feast of Tabernacles.
We just added Feast of Tabernacles. Close here.
Closing of the Feast of Tabernacles. Monday the 17th of October 2022. And these are the security announcements. So like, if anyone wants to become a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, or scarf. And these are the security announcements.
This is the Israelite School and the Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street out of Harlem, New York, under the command of General YAHANNA. I'm going to give courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Bajin Shabbat, Bajin, Rock, Yasmatah, turn the sisters, Sar, men of Israel, Bajin Shabbat, Bajin, Rock, Yasmatah, dismissed.